Hello everyone, it's such a joy to see you again on my channel. Today, I'm bringing you a very special episode, marking an important turning point in the emotional love story of Lie Too Deep and CEO James. After all the days they've shared together, James and Deep have not only stood side by side through hardships, but have also lovingly raised and cared for little Nee. Since being adopted, Nee has gradually grown accustomed to her new home, sweetly calling Deep Mom, and settling into school just like any other child. That immense joy has filled their small home with laughter, and it has also become the motivation for James and Deep to take the next big step forward in their journey of love. In this episode, viewers will witness a truly memorable moment, the simple yet deeply heartwarming wedding of Deep and James. It isn't lavish or showy, but rather filled with sincerity, happiness, and tears of emotion from both families and close friends. On that day, Deep wore a pure white wedding dress, her eyes sparkling with joy, while James held his bride's hand tightly, vowing to always stay by her side and protect their little family. From this point on, it is no longer just romantic love, but also the sacred bond of a true home. Little Nee now has a father, a mother, and a new home full of laughter in which to grow up, to be cherished, and to be cared for. Stay tuned for today's episode to savor every sweet and heartfelt moment, and don't forget to leave your blessings for James and Deep's little family. For many long months, James worked tirelessly, running everywhere without complaint. By day, he was busy with company matters, but in the evenings, he rushed into meetings with lawyers, carefully discussing every clause of the adoption paperwork. There were nights when he stayed up until dawn, reading each page, checking every stamp and seal. At times, the endless procedures wore him down, yet whenever he thought of Nee's innocent smile or the hopeful look in Deep's eyes, James found the strength to press on. He even went back and forth to the police station and the local committee offices many times, patiently explaining, adding documents, redoing forms until everything was complete. Finally, after all the effort, the dream came true. The adoption of little Nee was approved. The day James held that fragile piece of paper in his hand, he trembled as if clutching an invaluable treasure. It was more than just a legal document, it was proof of unwavering love, a lifelong commitment to protect and raise this child with all his heart. At that moment, Deep broke down in tears. She hugged Nee tightly, her trembling hand stroking the child's hair. Tears of joy rolled down, soaking the rosy cheeks lit up by a bright smile. With a choked voice, she whispered, "From now on, you are truly my daughter." That embrace was more than a mother's hug, it was a vow that no matter how difficult the road ahead, she would never let Nee go. Quietly, James stepped closer, his eyes glistening with joy. He knelt before mother and child, taking out a small, shining ring he had kept for so long. With a voice trembling yet filled with determination, he looked straight into Deep's eyes and asked, "Will you marry me, and raise Nee with me for the rest of our lives?" That question shattered every barrier, every lingering worry. Overcome with emotion, Deep's lips quivered, but words would not come. She could only nod, hard, resolute. In her tear-filled eyes shone overwhelming happiness. Nee clapped her hands and shouted with delight, bouncing like a little bird that had just found the sky. "Yeah! I have a dad and a mom now." Her cheerful voice echoed through the room, stirring emotions that no one could hold back. From that day on, Nee naturally called James Dad and Deep Mom. Those first sweet, innocent words brought tears to their eyes. It was a sacred sound, the most precious reward for all the sacrifices they had made. James and Deep cherished Nee as their own. He took her to school, patiently teaching her to spell each letter. She cared for every meal, every bedtime, never letting Nee feel less than any other child. Together, they built a home where love and protection were always present. Not long after, they decided to enroll Nee in a nearby preschool. On her very first day, Deep held her daughter's hand tightly, her eyes following every small step. James walked beside them, carrying the pink backpack he had chosen a week earlier. Nee chattered happily, laughing as she went, turning to her parents to boast, "I have a new class, I have lots of friends now." At the school gate, Nee hesitated for a moment. But seeing her parents' reassuring smiles, she found her courage and stepped inside, humming softly to herself. James and Deep stood outside, watching her small figure disappear behind the classroom door, their hearts a mix of worry and pride. Hand in hand, they shared the same conviction: from this moment on, the true journey of their little family had begun. A journey not only of romantic love, but of the sacred duty of being a father and a mother. A journey where each day, no matter how simple, brimmed with happiness and held all the hope for their future. The wedding of Deep and James was celebrated in grand style, filling the peaceful village with joy and festivity. From the early dawn, when the sun was still shy behind the bamboo groves, the village came alive with footsteps and cheerful chatter. Relatives and friends from near and far gathered, bringing baskets of gifts, vibrant bouquets, and eyes brimming with delight. Everyone was as eager as if awaiting a great festival, one the village hadn't witnessed in a long time. That day, the family courtyard seemed to wear a brand new coat. Strings of colorful flags fluttered in the wind, red lanterns lined the pathway, glowing under the morning sun. On either side of the aisle leading to the ceremony, pots of marigolds and daisies stood neatly in rows, releasing their gentle fragrance. On the tables, lavish trays of food had been prepared early: boiled chicken, sticky rice, braised fish, bamboo shoot soup. Their aromas blended together, filling the air with warmth and abundance. The beats of drums, the sound of horns, and lively music echoed across the hamlet, mingling with children's laughter as they ran around the yard. Adults dressed in their finest clothes, beaming smiles, pausing now and then to admire and praise the couple. The elderly clasped their hands behind their backs, eyes glistening with emotion, as if witnessing a perfect ending to all the trials the young pair had endured. In a small room behind the stage, Deep sat before the mirror. She wore a pristine white dye that gracefully embraced her slender figure. Her face radiated beauty, though her eyes revealed the nervous excitement of a bride about to step onto the aisle for the first time. A brilliant bouquet trembled in her hands, while her eyes sparkled with happiness. As the doors opened, her graceful steps hushed the entire courtyard for a fleeting moment, before thunderous applause and joyful cheers erupted like a rising tide. At the end of the aisle, James stood tall in an elegant suit, his hair neatly styled, his face glowing as though he were living the greatest moment of his life. When his gaze met Deep's, his eyes lit up, and a tender smile curved on his lips. In that instant, everyone present could see clearly: she was not just a bride, but the woman he had chosen to walk beside for the rest of his life. The exchange of rings was the moment when emotions overflowed. James gently slid a sparkling ring onto Deep's finger, his hand clasping hers as if promising never to let go. Tears welled up in both their eyes, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming joy after so much waiting and so many trials. The applause of the guests roared through the courtyard. James leaned close and whispered softly in her ear, "From today, we are a family." In a little corner, young Nee, dressed in a pink princess gown, tossed handfuls of colorful petals into the air. Her innocent face, her wide, sparkling eyes seemed to hold an entire sky of happiness. Laughing gleefully, she shouted, "Mom and Dad, be happy forever." That innocent blessing silenced the crowd for a heartbeat, before laughter and cheers rang out again, and the elders quietly wiped away their tears. Everyone was touched, because sometimes, the simplest words of a child carry the most sacred, complete meaning. That wedding was not only the union of two hearts, but the binding of a true home, one filled with love, sacrifice, responsibility, and the laughter of a child. From that day forward, they had truly become a family, ready to walk hand in hand on the long road ahead. After their joyous wedding, James and Deep decided to move into their newly completed home, a cozy little haven built from their dreams, hard work, and love that had been carefully nurtured over the years. The house nestled quietly beside a grapefruit garden heavy with golden fruit. Under the afternoon sun, the clusters of ripe grapefruits glistened, their gentle fragrance drifting with every soft breeze. The bright red tiled roof stood out against the lush green of the orchard, like a radiant mark on the peaceful countryside canvas. A white wooden fence surrounded the garden, draped with blossoming bougainvillea in pink and purple, cascading gracefully over the small gate, like tender arms welcoming and embracing a new beginning. Stepping through the gate, a neat brick pathway led straight to the veranda. James had carefully hung colorful paper lanterns so that when night fell, their warm golden light would brighten the courtyard. The house itself was not large, but every corner was meticulously arranged, reflecting love and care. From the vase of fresh flowers on the coffee table, the white curtains swaying gently in the breeze, to the family portrait hung proudly at the center of the living room, every detail radiated the warmth of a simple yet loving home. Inside, Deep had prepared a cozy little room just for Nee. She chose a soft pink paint, gentle like the child's sweet and innocent nature. On the window, she hung curtains patterned with tiny flowers, so that each morning, sunlight would sparkle through, filling the space with life. A small study desk stood neatly in the corner, topped with a box of crayons and a few brand new comic books still fresh with the scent of paper. On the bed, princess-themed sheets were carefully laid, making the room even more charming and warm. As the door opened, Nee dashed inside like a little bird finding its nest. Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she squealed with delight. She touched everything, the tiny study desk, the soft curtains, the treasured comic books she had long wished for. Each step, each giggle made James and Deep, standing at the doorway, feel their hearts swell with emotion. Deep bent down, hugging her daughter tightly and whispering with trembling emotion, "This is your very own room. From now on, you'll have a beautiful space to study, to play, and to grow up in the love of your mom and dad." Nee wrapped her arms around her mother's neck and exclaimed with pure innocence, "Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love this room so much." James stepped forward, enveloping both mother and daughter in his embrace. His shoulders were strong, his eyes brimming with indescribable happiness. In that moment, he realized, happiness doesn't have to be something grand. Sometimes, it is simply a warm home, the presence of loved ones, and the joyful laughter of a child, that alone is complete. That afternoon, Nee's laughter filled the new house, mingling with the joy shining in her parents' eyes, affirming that this place had truly become their home, a haven where sweet, happy days awaited them ahead. From that moment, a truly happy little family began. Their new days passed simply, yet every moment was filled with love, connection, and joy. Each morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, its first rays slipped through the grapefruit trees and streamed across the kitchen window, bathing the small room in golden warmth. Deep had grown accustomed to this new rhythm. She rose early to light the stove and prepare a hearty breakfast. A steaming bowl of rice porridge, golden fragrant fried eggs, and a plate of freshly boiled greens picked from the garden. Meanwhile, James busied himself neatly arranging bowls and chopsticks on the rustic wooden table, stealing tender glances at his wife. He carefully helped little Nee adjust her schoolbag straps, put on her shoes, and smooth down her hair. Nee chattered excitedly about school, her eyes sparkling with eagerness. "Yesterday, my teacher said my handwriting was rounder. Lon gave me a candy, so tomorrow I want to give her a guava." Her clear, melodious voice flowed like a stream, filling the quiet kitchen with life. Each giggle, each innocent word was like a cheerful melody, setting the rhythm for a radiant new day. In the evenings, when the sunset gilded the red-tiled roof, James and Deep strolled together in the garden. He rolled up his sleeves and watered the green vegetable beds, while she bent down to pick bunches of morning glory and ripe red tomatoes. Dewy droplets clung to the leaves, dripping onto the soil with gentle sounds of peace. In the corner of the yard, Nee skipped joyfully, chasing the playful kitten under the bougainvillea trellis. Her laughter rang out across the garden, blending with the rustling leaves and the earthy scent rising after watering, a vivid, serene picture of life. Weekends were the most anticipated times for the whole family. At dawn, James carried a sturdy bamboo basket, Deep wore her familiar conical hat, and little Nee dashed ahead, shouting, "Hurry up, Mom and Dad." Together they went to the fields for harvest. Golden ripe papayas were gathered, and heavy round watermelons were placed in baskets. As they worked, they chatted and laughed, their voices mingling with the morning sounds of the countryside. On some days, the family visited the village market. Amid the lively crowd of buyers and sellers, Deep stopped at a fabric stall to choose floral cloth for sewing new clothes. James carried a bag of fresh vegetables and fruit, while Nee held cotton candy in her hand, grinning from ear to ear. The three walked side by side through the bustling crowd, yet they stood out, their happy eyes and hearty laughter lighting the way. These were simple yet priceless memories, ones that would surely bring smiles whenever recalled in the future. The little house was no longer just a shelter, it had become a true home. Every brick and wall seemed infused with love. Children's laughter echoed through every corner, the protective gaze of a husband lingered at the doorway, and a wife's tender love glowed in the kitchen. Every shared meal, every morning walk to school, every evening story by the golden lamplight, these were the precious pieces woven into a tapestry of happiness. Above all, this was the beginning of a new journey, a journey of lasting togetherness. In each other's arms, the three found true peace, a home where love was not only spoken, but proven through every gesture, every sacrifice, and every ordinary day overflowing with care. So, after all the trials, after tears filled with worry and forced smiles, at last, Deep, James, and little Nee found their true harbor of happiness. All the storms and hardships that once seemed ready to swallow them whole were now only memories, left behind for a new beginning filled with faith and hope. The small house beside the grapefruit garden was no longer just a shelter from rain and sun. It had become a sacred home, a place where love was nurtured each day, where a father's steady protection, a mother's tender warmth, and the clear laughter of a child intertwined into something eternal. Within each brick that built the house, every wooden door that opened to welcome the morning light, every path winding through the garden, there lived traces of sacrifice, of long days of toil, and of persistent dreams. On the veranda, the sound of Nee's hurried little footsteps each afternoon after school rang like a joyful melody. Her sweet calls of "Daddy," "Mommy," filled the air with warmth. Their meals were simple, bowls of vegetable soup, plates of braised fish, sometimes a few sweet grapefruits from their own trees, but they brimmed with happiness. In the morning rush, James fixed Nee's school bag straps while Deep slipped a small lunchbox into her hands, and together the three stepped into the bright sunlight. In the evening, the young couple watered the vegetables and picked fruit while Nee ran gleefully after the kitten. Everything seemed so simple, yet all these moments pieced together a picture of life that was whole and serene. The journey ahead will surely hold new stories, unexpected joys, and challenges yet unseen. There will be difficulties, and there may be sudden storms. But with hearts bound together, with unwavering trust and love, this little family will keep moving forward. James will always be the strong shoulder for Deep to lean on, Deep will remain the flame that warms their home, and Nee, the innocent child, will be the laughter and hope that nourishes them all. Together, they will walk through sunshine and rain, through every season of storm, writing new chapters of happiness. In that journey, each day will be a precious gift, each moment a sweet memory. And perhaps, along the way, their happiness will not only remain, it will grow tenfold, with new joys, simple miracles that life bestows, and wonders reserved for those who know how to cherish and love wholeheartedly. Thank you all so much for always accompanying us, listening, and following along with today's emotional story. Every view, every comment, and every heartfelt blessing from you is a tremendous encouragement, giving us more motivation to continue sharing complete and meaningful stories. Please leave your warm wishes for the little family of Deep, James, and me in the comments below. Who knows, your loving words may also become a beautiful part of their journey of happiness. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so that together we can spread even more positivity to everyone. See you again in tomorrow's episode, where many more surprises, heartfelt emotions, and sweet moments are waiting. Wishing you all a day full of peace and happiness.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mọi khi thì kênh của mình sẽ lên video về Lý Hoài Ca rất là nhiều. Tuy nhiên hôm nay thì mình muốn đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện mà trước đó mình cũng đã từng đưa lên trên kênh mình rồi, nhưng mà cũng một thời gian rồi mình chưa có lên lại. Đó là câu chuyện của Lý Tử Diệp. Mọi người thân mến, thì đối với Lý Tử Diệp thì hôm nay thì sẽ là một tập khá là happy, kiểu tập này là happy ending, kiểu đây là đám cưới của James và Diệp, và sẽ trong tập phim sẽ toàn là tràn ngập những giây phút vui vẻ hạnh phúc bên nhau thôi, chứ không có kiểu vui buồn lẫn lộn nữa. Nên là mình hy vọng sẽ mang đến một tập phim khá là vui vẻ, ý nghĩa cho mọi người sau một ngày làm việc mệt mỏi. Hy vọng rằng mọi người sẽ yêu quý và ủng hộ cho kênh mình nhiều hơn. Mong rằng có thể gặp lại mọi người trong những video sau. Tạm biệt.